Hey folks, welcome back to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today we're going to take a look at this little fella right here, Small World Sky Islands. This is a expansion for Small Worlds. It's not a standalone game or anything like that, so you do need the base game to play it. But it basically gives you a bunch of new races, a bunch of new special abilities, and a double-sided board with some pretty cool rules that go along with it. So let's get down to the table and take a look. And so here's what you're going to be getting in the new expansion for Small World called Sky Islands. You're first of all going to be getting a double-sided board, one that has 3 Sky Islands on it, and then the other one has 2 Sky Islands on it. And then you'll see that it has 2 entryways into the regular board for which these 2 tokens are used. So these 2 tokens are placed on the regular board that is below these guys to denote where the entrance to the 2 Sky Islands are. So that's pretty cool. In addition to that, you're also going to be getting 7 new races, I guess you could say, and then 7 new special abilities that can be combined with those races. So basically, when you set up the game, you're going to choose one side of the board. You're either going to choose this side or the other, and then you're going to use a board from the base game that is going to be the one that is used for 1 player less than the number of players that are in the game. So if you have 4 players wanting to play a game of Small World Sky Islands, then you'll use a 3-player board from the base game along with this side or the other side of the board. Now, generally speaking, the only way that you can get up to these Sky Islands is by going through whatever zone this token is down on the other base board and coming up through them. You cannot start your conquests on the islands. However, some races like the Storm Giants, their specific ruling says that they can begin their conquest on the Sky Islands, but then they can move down and freely. But unless it specifically states like that, you must begin on the baseboard and then move your way up if possible. Now, why would you want to be on the Sky Islands? Well, what you're basically going to be doing is at the end of your turn, when you get more money, you're going to be getting an additional coin for an island that has been completely used. So let's say you have, 3 territories down below, and then you also have these 4 right here. So you get 3, 4, that's 7. But because you own this one, you'll also get an 8th. Now, just to go through some of the different races and their abilities, just to give you an idea of that. First of all, the Storm Giants get these 2 Lightning Bolt tokens, and each of these tokens allows the conquest of any mountain region by using a single race token along with this token. Furthermore, as we noted earlier, Storm Giants can have their first conquest be in the Sky Islands, and then at the beginning of each turn, you receive 2 of these tokens, so they will come back off the board once you've used them in the previous turn. Then, if we go over to the Scarecrows, each time a player conquers a region occupied by active Scarecrows, that player earns an extra victory coin from the bank. And so these are the, as the rulebook calls them, the quintessential victims. All right, so every time you attack the Scarecrows, you're going to get an extra token from the bank for that territory. The cons over here, while they are active, cons earn an extra victory coin per hill or farmland region they occupy. However, any other region is worth 1 less victory coin. And so, and then a region can never be worth less than 0 coins. So they're really good in hills and farmlands, but not too good everywhere else. And then some of the different special ability tokens here. First of all, the Goldsmith. As long as it's active, the Goldsmith race earns 2 extra victory coins per mine region they occupy. But any other region is worth 1 less victory coin, and it can never be worth less than 0. So that's pretty cool. If you're combining that with dwarves or something like that, that would be pretty good. Airborne is one that basically says that during the turn, when the airborne power is selected, conquests follow normal requirements, but they cost 2 less race tokens than normal. A minimum of 1 race token is still required. So that's pretty cool that you can attack from the air and you get 2, the requirement is 2 less. The gunner over here, you're going to be getting these 2 cannon tokens, basically. And at the end of your first turn, you're going to put both of these on the board in 2 of the regions that you have with the inactive side up, which is looking like this right here. So you have the active side like this, and you have the inactive side like that. All right, so you'll put them in your space, inactive side face up like that. And then each turn and following turns, each cannon can either shoot, which means you flip it to its fire side, and an adjacent region will get -2 required race tokens for conquering. Or it can move to another region. So it can move until it's fired. Once it is fired, boom, it stays there. And it allows the conquest of an adjacent region at a cost of 2 less. And then the effect of both cannons are cumulative, but a minimum of 1 race token is still necessary. So gunners are pretty cool as well. So that's a general idea of everything that you get in the box. Let's get to some final thoughts. So that is Small World Sky Islands, the expansion. I really do think that this is a great expansion. And the reason I say that is because it does what I think expansions should do. It doesn't change the rules of the game very much. It does very slightly, but at the same time, it gives you more things for you to add to your game. It gives you more possibilities, more explorative possibilities that you can put into your game. And that's what I really enjoy about this game. The fact that you can explore the board, it is very simple, deterministic way of combat that is very easy and simple and not hard to grasp at all. And this basically adds to that with giving the Sky Islands board. Now, had this just been the board, it would have been incredibly lackluster. However, because it comes with 7 new races and 7 new powers, that is a very cool expansion for me because it's not just the race tokens, it's also another board. So it really gives you some more to play with there. I like the fact that it's also double-sided, the board that comes within it, because that can really kind of change how things work. The 2-sided board has ways for you to get up to both of those Sky Islands, but on the 3rd one, you only have access to that 3rd island is if you're already up there in the Sky Islands. So I like that as well. I like the fact that some of the races, but most of them, some of the races can start up in the Sky Islands on their conquest, but most of the races that are out there will not be able to. They have to work their way up. So I like that as well. You'll have some people that will shoot straight up there and others that will just kind of chill down on the real, firma terra, whatever you want to call it. And so I like that aspect as well. As far as the different races that come in this, the artwork, of course, is all very well done. And I think that each of the different races provides a fresh, new ability that comes to the game. I didn't feel like any of them were just basically rehashing other powers or abilities that were already in the game. Although there were a couple of powers that seemed like that's what it was doing, but after you get underneath the surface, you see all the different possibilities that can come from these new powers being added to those older races. So I do like that as well. I think that this is a great expansion. I don't know if it's going to be one of those kinds of expansions that I say that you must go out and get. I will say that this is more of a must-have expansion than some of the other small world expansions that are out there, just for the fact that it adds a board and races instead of just races or just boards or something to that effect. So I think that I would probably point people towards this. If they already have the base game and they're familiar with it, then I think that this is one that you should probably go out and get hands down, because if you already enjoy the game, this is going to be something that doesn't change how the game is played too terribly much, but it does give you more to do within that framework that you already enjoy. So quite frankly, I'm going to give this a... probably going to give this, as far as an expansion is concerned, I'm going to give this probably a 7, maybe even an 8 out of 10. I really enjoy this expansion, and while it doesn't add too much to the game, and there's not a whole lot that comes in the box, I think everything that you have in the box will be used, and that's cool, because sometimes, modular expansions, which this really isn't, but modular expansions, you don't really use everything. You use one of the two things that you like out of it, and then the rest of the stuff that's in there you don't really use most of the time. I think these things, you're going to add all the races to your collection that you already have from your base game and any other expansions you've bought. You're also going to take those powers and do the same thing. The board you may or may not use, but quite frankly, I don't see why you wouldn't use it. It does provide a little bit more extra oomph. Now, I don't think that I would teach somebody how to play the game with this expansion. It might be, I guess you got to kind of weigh their abilities as far as gaming is concerned on the offset, and maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't, but I wouldn't on the offset make this something that I would use at the very first game for somebody. I'd probably just use the base game and see what they think, and then maybe after that, if they like it and they say, hey, let's try it again or whatever, maybe I'll throw that in there and see how it goes, but probably not on the first one, because it is slightly different, and there's a slight level of complexity that gets added. Not heavy, especially not in my opinion, but I could see where it might be a little bit too much, having another board on the table and so forth and so on. So that is it from Small World for me. A good strong 7 or 8. I really do enjoy the expansion. Go check it out, and as always, try before you buy if you can, folks. We'll see you on the flip side.